Greetings to you, beloved. I bring you greetings from the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. He's been faithful to us, always been merciful to us, because if he has to deal with us the same way he used to deal with his children in time past, I believe that we wouldn't be where we are now. So we give him all the glory, we give him all the praise, and we exalt his holy name, because he's the I am that I am God. He's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Last time when we met, we got to the point where I was just making a statement that God, the things that Solomon did, if it was David that did the same things, David would have been dealt with differently. If it was David that had to marry all those kind of wives and worship gods, other gods, I believe that God would have dealt with David in a different way. But with Solomon got away with it. Why? Because of the legacy and the kind of relationship he had with his maker, he had with God. So God translated that blessing, the blessing that God blessed David, God blessed his entire generation, so that kind of blessing transcended even to Solomon, his son. And that's how come God was able to overlook some of the actions of King Solomon. What am I driving at? What I'm trying to say is that we're all different. What if you have a father who has not lived a certain life like David? We have other people whose fathers have lived a certain kind of legacy with God, so that God has brought those kind of blessing to his family and the generation next. Maybe I don't have that kind of blessing. Other people do have that kind of blessing. That is why certain things happen to friends of yours, or certain things are happening in other people's life and you don't see them happening in your life, because of the kind of things that have been done in a certain lineage of a certain person's family compared to what has been left for you and I. So I want you to know that there are certain people, even if you look around you, you realize that some friends or people that you went to school with, they have life easy. They are not Christians. They're having it easy. Some of them are Christians. They're having it easier than you are having it. Meanwhile, you are more faithful to the things of God, but you're not seeing those kind of blessings being manifested in your life. And I believe that one of the things that can be able to break that bondage of finances, or that can break that kind of cycle that has been transcended from your great-great-grandfather to your grandfather and to your daddy, and it's down to you, is the paying of your tithes. You see, payment of tithe has become a controversial subject. Why that? Why not even offering? You hardly hear people attack offerings that are being made in churches, but it always has to do with the tithe. You see, tithe paying is very, very important. Even when it came to the priest Eli, God had to be able to bring an accountability to his household, because his kids or his children were embezzling the kind of offerings that people were bringing to the house of God. Brethren, one of the ways that you can be able to break yourself away from financial bondages is the payment of tithe. There are certain people, if they don't pay tithe, nothing's going to happen to them. They're going to still be rich, because somebody has paid a price in their lineage. Somebody has been able to live a certain lifestyle that God has remembered that family and said, I'm going to bless that entire generation. The Bible says that, and the almsgiving of Cornelius had become like a memorial. Remember, Cornelius was not a Christian at the time. Cornelius was not somebody that, had the favor of God, but because of his almsgiving and because of the way and manner in which he was carrying himself, God had to visit Cornelius and his family. And guess what? The blessing that was brought to Cornelius transcended to other people in his household, in his generation, and the next generation. So if you look at someone and say, this person is not paying tithe, I don't see the use of payment of tithe, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to look into your own personal life and realize that, look, my family is not blessed. When it comes to finances, we're all over the place. So I'm going to be faithful in my tithing. Now remember, Bible says that God has given us the power to make wealth in the book of Deuteronomy. And remember that every money that is coming into your hands, even though you went to school for it or you work for it, it is God that has been merciful to you to provide that money to you. All God wants to see is whether you are going to be accountable, where 10% of that money that he wants you to give is a way of giving it back into his kingdom, so that money that you are giving out will be spiritually will protect the other 90% that you're going to use. The reason why when you pay, you are already in bondage, you're experiencing bondages, is that when you the 10% that you're not faithful in giving, it doesn't protect the 90. So you see that the 90, you use the 90 and you don't actually know where the money went to, because that 90% of the money has not been protected spiritually by the 10% that you're expected to faithfully pay. Now remember, there are people who are not paying tithes, they're not paying offerings, but they're getting blessed, because if you should go into their history, family lineage, the kind of lifestyle, somebody have paid the price in that family line to bring that kind of blessing to that particular generation. Right? So tithe paying is one of the ways to break financial bondages. Now another thing, tithe is not just paid to just anybody. You have to make sure that the tithe you're going to pay, you have to pay to a man of God or